Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Marvel Monday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Target reissue of the Marvel Legends series X-Men 97's Rogue. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging. And here at the top, Marvel Studios X-Men 97 and some nice artwork of some of the characters from the series, this is all Wave 1. And then we've got some nice artwork from the series of Rogue here, Marvel's Rogue. 4 and up. Warning! Don't stick things in your pie hole that do not belong there. Here's some assortment numbers if you need that kind of thing. Hasbro print. And then we also have a nice big blister here showcasing the figure and her accessories. And then in the background, a nice big X-Men X logo. On the back side, we've got Marvel Legends series, the X-Men logo, the cross sale of Magneto, Wolverine, Storm, Rogue, Bishop, Gambit. The name is Gambit, remember it. And then here we have a nice digital render of the figure, and again that X logo in the background, and it says Marvel's Rogue right here. Each sold separately, subject to availability. Colors and decoration may vary. Attention, especially don't stick things in your French pie hole that do not belong there. Recycle this stuff. Warning, attention, Octoon, don't stick things in any other language pie hole that do not belong there. Don't give it to babies. Small print, fine print, legalese print, made China print. Symbols I'm not going to learn. A barcode, Marvel print, Hasbro print, small fine legalese print, whatever that is. And that, my friends, boop, completes our look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and her accessories. And here we have Handy Dandy Tweezers to help us take a look at the accessories, and she comes with an extra pair of hands. And here we have your standard female power hand from Marvel Legends, and this one is ungloved because, of course, for Rogue to use her absorption power, she has to touch skin to skin. So, of course, a lot of times on the show, that's how she got the contact. She touched somebody on the neck or face or arm, hand, whatever, with her hand. And of course it has to be ungloved. And it's an in and out hinge. And again, nothing we haven't seen before. It does have some nice molded details in it. And if you haven't seen this hand before, you haven't been collecting Marvel Legends or just not the female characters. So, then the other one she comes with is a gloved fist. And again, not anything new. If you've collected Marvel Legends female figures for the last several years at least, then you are familiar with this hand. It's on an in and out hinge, molded in the proper color. Now let's take a look at the figure herself. And I have to say, it does, the face does look like the animation, and it's got some nice tones for the hair. And it looks like to me that it's several pieces here. Like the head is one piece, and then the brown hair is one piece, and then the white hair is another piece on top of that. So that saves them from some paint apps. However, you know, I mean, it does add to that animated type look. And if that's what you're looking for, you know, that's proper for this figure. If you're looking for something that's a little more realistic, should have got the last retro carded Rogue from Target. Also, or maybe the one from the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure wave. But, you know, I mean, this is what it's supposed to be, X-Men 97. And I don't want to sound like I'm knocking that, because I don't. That's what this figure is supposed to look like. And that's what I expected this figure to look like. So, she does have some nice, I don't know if it's the green or I guess it's yellow. That's the paint app. But it's got some nice tampos right here. And then a nice tampo on the jacket arm of the X, and that's on both sides. And then, you know, jacket we've seen before. The belt, I'm pretty sure we've seen before, and it's got a little bit of paint apps on it. And then, you know, it's got the paint on the back side too. It's got some paint apps right here. And then I want to say this is probably the paint apps on the inner thighs, but I'm not 100% sure. And then we have her glove fist. The cuff is a separate piece, and that's on both sides. And as you can see, this is how she came out of the packaging. She's holding, you know, the hand where she's pulled the glove off the other hand. And why they match this hand with this hand is weird, but that's what they did. And then we've got pinless elbow, which is the single hinge and swivel elbow that we've been used to on female figures in Marvel Legends. And then we've got the double hinged pinless knees. And let's take a look real quick at her articulation. Because of the hair, she doesn't really look up. And the head is on the ball and hinge, as you can see there. So, because of the hair, she can't really look up. She can look down that far. She's got chicken neck. She's got some waggle. She can do the full Exorcist. 360 degree rotation at the shoulder. And at the shoulder also, she can lift the arm up not quite 90 degrees. As I mentioned before, single hinge and swivel at the elbow, swivels around 360 degrees. And gives you a little bit better than 90 degree bend. In and out hinge at the wrist with a 360 degree rotation, and in and out on the other side as well. Cut here where the chest and the abdomen meet. Woo, all kinds of hula, and 360 degrees of rotation there as well. At the hips, she can only give you that much of the splits. And she can kick forward about 90 degrees. Back, not so much. Maybe a length of her foot. Cut here at the upper thigh for a full 360 degree rotation. And then, as I mentioned again before, double hinged pinless knee. And it gives you that much bend, so not bad. At the ankle, tilts down that far, tilts up that far. And forward facing pin for rocker. So there you have it, my friends. A look at the figure and her accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the Marvel Legends series X-Men 97 Rogue with the Marvel Legends series X-Men 97 Wolverine and the Marvel Legends series X-Men 97 Cyclops. For our last set of comparisons, here we have the Marvel Legends series X-Men 97 Rogue, with from the Marvel Legends series making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee. From G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. From Star Wars The Black series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Marvel Legends series, X-Men 97 Rogue, I have to say I'm really glad I finally got my hands on one of these at retail rather than secondary market pricing, because it is insane. And I don't know, just I'm glad that this figure got a re-release. I would have liked to have seen it be a much wider release than just a Target exclusive, but I was luckily able to snag one from Target. It came up in stock on the website for a few hours, and I was able to get it. And this was not during the initial release of the Target run. It was, a couple of weeks later that I was able to get my hands on this one. So, and it's really my own fault for having to hunt for this figure, because it sat in the stores on the pegs for weeks and weeks. And my initial thought was, I've already got a Jim Lee Rogue. That one is a little more animation looking than I would like. And then the show came out, and I saw the show, and like everybody else at that point, I was like, okay, yeah, I need to go ahead and pick these up. And I was lucky enough to be able to get everything at retail, both waves, except for Rogue, because I waited too long, and Magneto in his traditional suit. Again, I waited too long on that one, and I was gonna pick that one up anyway. And he sat for weeks and weeks, and I was like, nobody's gonna pick it up. I can wait, and I waited and waited too long, and so there's that. So maybe we'll get a re-release on Magneto as well, because I don't want a release of Speedo Magneto. I don't feel like that's appropriate for a toy. I really don't want that one. But if they released it, I would feel the need to probably pick it up anyway, just to complete the set. But yeah, I don't really want a Speedo Magneto. And but as far as this figure herself goes, it's a good representation of that version of Rogue. I do like the fact that she has pinless knees, double jointed pinless knees. And I really wish they would have upgraded the arms on this one to have double hinged pinless knees as well, elbows as well, rather than the single hinge and swivel that they generally put out with female figures. But we are starting to see that Black Widow body, the Avengers 60th or Mightiest Heroes or whatever that subline was, that Target exclusive Black Widow mold is starting to see a little bit wider use, and I'm glad, because it's a really good mold, and the female Bucks have needed updating for a long time, and they've slowly been doing it with the pinless knees, and so now they just need to go ahead and go all in on that new body. The colors on this one, very animated, and that's what it's supposed to be. And I'm glad that it kind of differentiates itself from the regular look of the figures. And that's not necessarily to say that, the other ones are realistic looking, but the X-Men 97 are more animation looking, while the regular Marvel Legends are more comic book looking. And I know that's probably a slight difference to most people for that, but that's just the way I feel. And then of course, you know, you have a slightly more realistic look for the MCU figures. But, you know, it's not to say you couldn't put these together, but I don't know. The Rogue looks particularly more animated than some of the others, but they all share that same style for the head sculpts and the colors and stuff like that. And again, that's not knocking anything. I like it I take it for what it is, and that's why I like it, because it's representations of those characters from the X-Men anime, not just the X-Men 97, but the animated series as well. You know, I feel like these figures represent those versions as well, even though that animation was sometimes lacking, or the sizes were skewed, like Rob Liefeld drew it or something. But you can't really say that because most of the time they had feet. But, you know, again, I like the X-Men 97 line for what it is, and that includes Rogue. Now I just need to get my hands on a Magneto at retail price, because he's $50, $60, $70 on the secondary market at this time. Now that could change, and it probably will change. It'll probably go up rather than down. But so I need to track that one down, and then I will be complete until the next wave, which is rumored, and again, that's rumored, that we're going to get another X-Men 97 wave next year. That would be 2026. For those of you who might be watching this a little later than others. Well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I am now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content, or just to help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.